Hey guys, Taylor with GammaEdge here, coming at you with a market recap for August 14th, 2025. As you can see, very choppy day. If you've been following us for any amount of time, you know that transition zones is really the core bedrock of our um, strategy on an intraday basis. Transition zones were quite wide today, as we discussed in the pre-market prep. Feel free to go watch that on our YouTube channel if you want to. We do it every day. They're live. So with that, we are going to go through just briefly that pre-market prep, how we got those key levels, and then what our intraday tools were telling us. This video too, we're going to hit on some individual stocks as well. Right, so looking at pre-market prep, first thing we look at market trend model. Again, not going to go over this here. But yesterday, was a strong day. Prior day was a strong day, a lot of filter tick buying. The trend on a short-term, long-term basis was higher, so that was good to see. You can see today, obviously, intraday basis, fairly choppy action, really meh action. Going to the dashboard itself, I know that there's a lot of markings here. The key things to keep in mind, though, here are the transition zones, which is the blue and the yellow blocks. Our DEX transition zone was 16,495 up to down to 64.15. Keep in mind where a little bit of art versus science comes into play. We had an annoying little note up there, so I kind of treated this area in here as a potential more aggressive transition zone as well. You'll see that's why I had 64.50 annotated on my chart. As we always like to say, that the eye is a great filter, and so I was kind of just drawn to this area as well. But no need to get it wrapped around the axle here. The takeaway here is that the transition zone was quite wide, especially the drunken sailor range, 59.45 down to 64.35 to 64.95. So look, either way you split it, the transition zone was quite wide today. And so again, this is what the chart or my chart looked like today. We had the bottom of the drunken sailor range, bottom of the transition zone right down here, and then we had the top of it up here. I just have those annotated as kind of those zones, right? Not a specific level. And then that kind of midpoint of kind of an area of interest that I had in terms of kind of like a secondary, more aggressive transition zone. I just had 64.50 marked, just kind of a key psychological level. Just looking at distribution and speculation, there's a decent amount of open interest there too. So it could have been a level of interest today, which, looking at the action, again, all action was contained within our drunken sailor range within the transition zones. And then that 64.50 level actually did play a little bit of importance today. Obviously, we had a lot of interaction with that failure to go lower there and then kind of a rally back. But again, net, I mean, was a tricky day just because of, it was just a lot of chop, very wide transition zones, market trend model not doing much. And then when we go to look at our intraday volume analysis, is going to show much of the same thing. Very flat to downward sloping call centroid, aggressively, I guess, up moving put centroid. So hence you kind of get your choppy price action. And right, this is our NetStat command. This is just a representation of all the various 3D surface models that we have, Delta, Charm, Gamma, Vanna, 4 key Greeks. We just have it summarized on this table here. Thing that we could see, in the pre-market was just looking at the structure of those key sensitivity points were, identified as the top and bottom of our transition zones, 35 to 95. Yes, I understand that's a quite wide zone, but that is just the structure that we had today. And it told us that, we were likely to stay within these zones. And if we were to shoot through these key sensitivity points, then we would adjust our plane, right? Or we have a plane if that was to happen. But again, very large range today. Intraday tools were suggesting that likely not going to get a sustained move one way or another. So right, the whole point of that was just to, understand how we got our key levels for the day and then what the intraday tools were telling us. And look, if this stuff is new to you guys, you have no idea what we're talking about, new to GammaEdge, new to kind of the options markets and kind of their relevance on today's markets. We have a couple of free things for you. First off, the GammaEdge Fast Pass. This is our entire methodology, a breakdown of all of our tools, basically everything a paid member gets, but you're getting it for free here as well. Right at the end of the day, like, you need to learn to implement the tools, which is what this has. But then, like, in order to get the data, like, that's where you subscribe to GammaEdge, right? So just being totally transparent there with the thought process. But yes, this is for free. So if you want to, learn more about this, unlock kind of why the options markets matter and kind of tools that we built around it, then feel free to give that a go. The last thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, I know this chart may look like a lot, but all of it is just 5-minute charts of the Mag 7 stocks with our levels overlaid. We have scripts that we produce during the day with our key gamma levels, and that's just simply what these lines are. So it's just an easy way of looking to see in the pre-market, really, what stocks are interacting with key levels for potential trade setups. And so there's just a couple I wanted to highlight that I was messing around with today. The first being Google. That's the wrong one. Google here. Bam, there we go. So the reason for Google is right in the pre-market session, had a couple of taps near the P-trans level. Yes, it's not exactly at that level, but it's close enough, right? It's a zone. It's not a specific level. And then, yeah, simply once we made that higher low, the market was moving up at that point in time. Just found a simple, very easy risk-defined entry, played that up to 205, exited right in this candle here, right? It was close enough to 205 for me. I didn't need to get every single penny out of it, especially given SPX kind of had the characteristic of a choppy price action today. And another one I played today was Meta, right? In the pre-market, showing respect of a couple key downside gamma levels, and then in the open had a higher low retest off P-trans, which right, P-trans is a key level of ours. If you know what P-trans is, we discussed in the GammaEdge fast, and then had a nice push higher. I ultimately took this one for break even, just because in this point in time right here, the market was pulling back. Obviously, this was a higher low at the time, but ultimately topped out. So not too terribly upset about that. But then lastly, I mean, just showing you that these levels work not only on SPX, but they work, day after day on individual equities as well. Hence why I tracked it here. Apple, we noted in the pre-market how it was rejecting plus SPX. We've also noted throughout the week how COTMP is a key downside level and a bullish structure for stocks. I mean, seems like every day one of these Mag 7 gave you a good opportunity off COTMP. Like NVIDIA, you had that opportunity today. Microsoft held P-trans, Uber as an example, couldn't get above P-trans. So, right, it's easy to sit here at the end of the session and just curb fit and just saying, oh, look, our levels work. It touched the level. But, we post on Twitter every day. We're watching this stuff every day. And so these opportunities do present themselves every day. It's really just having a discipline to watch. I just like to watch a select set of stocks. I can't cover them all. I've accepted that fact I can't cover them all. So I just look at kind of the largest stocks that often have interactions on a daily basis with these key levels. And then, finding a good risk to reward trade and taking it. So with that, that's all I got for you guys tonight. We covered SPX, covered the levels, covered the intraday price action, then we covered a couple single stocks as well. So appreciate the time. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.